Federalist Papers.
Register Star columnist Chuck Sweeney writes again today about Amtrak passenger rail service between Chicago and Rockford and beyond. You are lobbying for a stop in McHenry County. There's a stop planned in Belvedere, a couple of stops planned for Rockford. And Chuck Sweeney today quotes George Weber with the Illinois Department of Transportation as saying, you're not going to be able to stop at Marengo, Huntley, Belvedere, and make 2 stops in Rockford and keep a schedule that is competitive with the highway. Your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, there are 2 places. First of all, it won't do any good to bring in Amtrak unless you have the riders. If you don't have the ridership, all the work that Senator Durbin and I have been doing on Amtrak will be for naught, and the service will be closed down in 6 months unless you have the ridership. Number 2, McHenry County now is actually the largest county in the congressional district that I represent, and we're lobbying for one of the stops there, either Huntley or Algonquin, because that could be where the bulk of the ridership comes in, and because of that could be what would make Amtrak profitable. The cost of a stop is 5 to 7 minutes in terms of time. And our staff is going to be meeting with Weber trying to figure out why he's opposed to this, because the Amtrak is not a commuter train. It won't come through at commuter times. It's not designed as a commuter train. And why adding 5 to 7 minutes at a stop that could be the most widely used stop on the way out west? We're just wondering why Weber is doing this.
Are you
and everybody else along the line,
yes,
all the people in Rockford, Belvedere, all the way through to the river, Mississippi River, are in favor of that McHenry stop because they say this will really ensure that there'll be enough ridership to keep it profitable, so we keep the Amtrak when it comes.
Are you confident that we as a country are emerging from the recession and the crisis, the debt crisis over in Europe, specifically in Greece, is having a volatile impact on world markets? Tie that all together, how the global economy is faring right now and how this country is trying to pull out of recession.
Well, Ken, first of all, the bailout mentality is permeated all over the world, and what's particularly bothersome about it is the fact that it rewards bad behavior. The people in Greece have lived under a system, as many in Germany and other countries in Europe, that's pure benevolence. The pensions start at an early age. The only time that they get involved in working with the government is to extend the length of their vacations, to have more and more socialism, to have the government take care of more of their lives, and with all that spending, it eats up a huge portion of the gross domestic product. And what's happening in Greece is not unlike what's happening here in the United States. If you take a look at the amount of debt that's anticipated within the next several years in this country, the Congressional Budget Office said that people now paying in the 10% income tax bracket will be paying 25% in taxes. People presently in the 25% tax bracket will be paying 63%, and people in the 35% income tax bracket will be paying 88% of their wages in taxes just to keep the government going and to pay down some of the debt.
And by when? When is this going to happen?
Well, that's by 2030.
Mm-hmm.
Literally the next generation. And so the United States continues to spend and spend and spend. The health care bill that passed, $1 trillion. Last week we saw the Congressional Budget Office come out and say, I'm sorry, we underestimated the administrative cost of this by $150 billion. Cap and trade is back again. That's going to cost a lot of money, cost a lot of jobs. Ken, there was even a bill that passed several weeks ago called, I'm trying to think of the name of it, it was a euphemism, something like the Plain English Bill. And the purpose of it was so that the bureaucrats would be able to use plain-sounding words that were easy to understand as opposed to legalese. Well, that sounds good on its face, and then I read the bill. The cost to implement that, $25 million. So they could have seminars and software, so bureaucrats can speak in plainer language. We could build a high school for $25 million.
Annie, you're on WNTA with Congressman Don Manzullo. Annie, good morning to you.
Good morning, Annie.
Good morning to both of you. Mr. Battleship Man, I haven't talked to you for quite a while.
How's one of my favorite veterans?
I'm sorry, what?
How's one of my favorite veterans?
Listen, I got an email yesterday that kind of blows me away. But I have to tell you, I don't believe everything that I get over the Internet, but this is from a very reliable source, a very good friend of mine. It tells me that the U.S. House and Senate has voted themselves raises at $4,700 in the House and $5,300 in the Senate, and yet they would not give us a COLA, a cost of living allowance, for the next 2 years.
Well,
can you believe this?
Yeah, the information is not correct because the wages have been frozen for 2 years now. There's been no cost of living increase.
Okay, so did you hear that, Annie? That information is incorrect.
I can't hear you guys well at all.
The information that you put out, Congressman Manzullo says, is incorrect.
That's not correct.
It's not correct.
Incorrect?
Correct.
That's correct.
You're right, it's not correct.
Well, God Almighty, I hope you're right.
Thank you, Annie.
Thanks, Annie. But you know what? What's neat about the Internet system, you get something like that, there's the ability to go in there and try to check it. And what did we do without the Internet, Ken?
Well, it's hard to believe. It's hard to fathom that we had life before the Internet. In our remaining, Don, you're running for a 10th two-year term this year.
That's correct.
Are there any plans to retire at all?
My health is great, and we're getting a lot of things done. I continue most of my work, Ken, on manufacturing. The answer is no. We continue our work on manufacturing. In fact, on June 2nd, Boeing is coming out for seminars in Rockford and in Crystal Lake on supplier conferences. Rockford area is an emerging area of more and more companies involved in aerospace industry. And so we're bringing out Boeing, and then in the next several months we're bringing out 3 other Fortune 500 aircraft manufacturers to explore all types of possibilities for sourcing jobs to the Rockford area.
We need jobs. So
everything has to start with jobs. I mean, that's all I've worked on ever since I've been in Congress, is trying to get more and more manufacturing and keep more and more manufacturing in America. We're involved in a very...
Hey, Don, I hate to do this, but we're up against the clock. I appreciate your time, and stay healthy. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll talk to you later.
All right, 9:50.